What's up, guys? What is going on? Hope you guys are having a good day. It's Tuesday, I know, so we're not really used to seeing me here on a Tuesday. Oh my gosh. But I'm here, and we're about to have a huge conversation. I can't wait for this conversation. It is going to be phenomenal. All right, guys. So, of course, this is just a special edition of What's the 411. And so our special guest today is coming from the Global Black Marriage Bureau. So I'm excited to hear all about what she has to say. It's going to be great. It's going to be a great conversation. So right now, guys, we're just getting ready for the summit coming up. We have a seat at our table. Of course, you know it's been around now for quite a bit of seasons that we continuously have a bunch of different phenomenal individuals who are sharing their expertise with us. So we're excited to see what this season has in store for us. And I've got a great selection on the panel. As always, we always have some phenomenal speakers. Our theme this season is going to be strength. So strength, resilience, all of that, phenomenal stuff. And I usually think of a theme and then I don't even really put the theme out there. But for some reason, the people that are sign up for the summit end up doing presentations based on the theme. So before I put the theme out there, and I'm really just telling you guys right now for the first time, you will see that on the summit we have all of these different individuals talking about their own personal strength and how their business basically shares strength. So it's going to be phenomenal. I can't wait. So that's going to be November 20th. I'm excited about it. So make sure that you guys jump in. Okay. The link is still not in my bio. Don't kill me. I'm going to put it up there today. I have so many things to do, but it's okay. I'm going to make sure I put the link there so that you guys can start registering. Usually I'm on point with this, but I'm slow with it. This is fall. I've been falling back. You know what I mean? I gotta get my game up. So I'm going to make sure that I have that done for you. Actually, let me write it down right now. Link in bio. But what I'm really doing right now is I'm focusing a little bit harder on our pop-up shop because this is going to be my very first in-person pop-up that I'm putting together. So it is a lot of work. It's a lot of juggling. It's a lot of making sure things are done properly, right? I'm excited about it and I want it to be the best shopping experience for our customers and also for our vendors, of course. You know what I mean? So yesterday, if you missed the talk that we were having with Princess Foundation, you definitely missed out, okay? She was dropping gems on gems on gems. But one of the most important things she was talking about is the fact that Black Friday weekend is the shopping that we do right before Christmas. I know Black Friday weekend is right before Christmas, but I really didn't put it all together. These are when you want to do all that shopping. You want to get those sales before Christmas because this is the last time we're going to see any sales, right? So this Black Friday weekend it means a lot for people out there, for the customers out there who are religiously out there doing their shopping on Black Friday for their pre-Christmas sales and to make sure that they have their gifts all racked, cooked up and curried and ready for Christmas Day, right? So want to make sure that everybody is ready for that. Now, this is going to be a shopping experience that you've never seen before in your life. I'm talking about, first of all, it's a seat at our table. So what comes with a seat at our table? We're doing excellence. We're doing expertise. We're pushing our products and services, and we are showing our excellence every single minute of every single day. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday of Black Friday weekend, we are going to be at Dixie Outlet Mall. Okay, so if you guys don't know where Dixie Outlet Mall is, it's right off the QEW in Mississauga. I believe the exit is Dixie off the QEW. So visit us. Make sure that you guys come through. Make sure that you guys are, engaging. I'm going to have a lot of prizes, a lot of giveaways. A lot of our vendors are donating to our swag bags that we're going to be giving away just randomly. We're going to be raffling off some stuff. Black Friday itself, we have a huge basket that we're putting together for a raffle. It is going to be off the chain. It's going to be phenomenal. So make sure that you guys link up. Make sure you come through. Make sure. It's going to be a great time. It's definitely going to be a great time. And the vendors are all excited. The customers are all excited. People have been letting us know that they're excited to see us. But without further ado, I definitely am excited for this conversation that we're about to jump into. Hey, how's it going?
Going good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm ready.
Okay. Yes, that's exciting. That's exciting.
How was your day?
Hectic, very hectic, but that's good because I get bored fast, so it's okay. Yeah.
All right, all right.
Hmm.
It was good. Same. Good day. It was a good day.
That's
Busy
good.
but good. You know. hmm
I'm wondering if I
So,
can buy from the other accounts or if we should just keep it on this account. What do you think?
well, it's up to you. I think we could keep it here. We're gonna save the video anyways, and then you can always put it on your other page if you want to. It's up
Cool
to
beans.
you. What do you
Cool
think?
beans. No, no, no. We can stay here, you know. We can stay here. Okay.
Right. Okay, so introduce yourself. Let everybody, all the people know who you are and what you do.
Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Sam on the Platte, and I'm the founder of the Global Black Marriage Bureau. And it is a marriage bureau for Black people who are looking for marriage. So, in short, that's what I do, and that's who I am.
Okay, okay. So where did you come up with this?
So, for a while, I have been very interested in studying the community building habits of other communities, like the South Asian community, the North Asian community, the Jewish community. And one thing I noticed was consistent amongst all of these communities that are very, tight knit is the fact that they have a marriage protocol. Um, Knowing that uh, when it comes to our community, there's a whole Black love revolution happening. People are being a lot more intentional. I realized that, let me see if there's a marriage bureau available for us. And when I did my research, I found that there was nothing, or at least nothing online for everyone in the diaspora. Maybe in specific communities, they have some degree of it. My husband's African, so he's mentioned to me that when a man is trying to get married in the African community, he's East African, they just go to their moms and their moms figure out who they can get married to. So that's the closest thing I have heard of for Black people, but it's not a global thing. So yeah, after doing research, I realized that there is none. And it's very different from, the whole dating perspective. A lot of people think, well, there's Black dating sites, aren't there? But when you are looking for marriage, you don't want to be hooking up with different people. And that's something that a lot of people have to grow accustomed to in our community. Um, yeah, so eventually when I did my research, I found there was none. There was no marriage bureau for Black people specifically. So I'm like, let me start this. Let's do this.
All right, all right. Okay, so talk to us about the site. How do we join? What are the fees? What are we looking at?
Okay, so when it comes to the Marriage Bureau, it is a database as well as a service that we provide. So it's available on a membership basis. There are three different communities you can join, and the communities are tailored to your privacy level or desired privacy level. Tier one is called Gold Town. At that tier, you basically are able to browse profiles with a short profile. My daughter is calling me. Yeah, she's okay. Yeah, so the first tier of membership is Gold Town, which is 14.49 on a monthly basis. So it's like having a Netflix, membership.
Right.
So that gives you access to the database as well as the service. So in the database, we will let you know who is also in your tier of membership, and you won't see pictures. You will mainly see, oh, sorry, one second. One second.
Problem.
Let me see here.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
No, I was just talking to my daughter for a
Oh,
second.
okay. Never mind.
One second.
Okay. My bad. I thought she was talking to
No, no,
us
no,
guys.
sorry about that.
Oh my gosh. This is very interesting, guys, because this whole marriage bureau, sorry, this whole thing is interesting. We need to figure it out. A lot of other, as she was mentioning, other cultures have this type of setting. So I'd like to see how this is going to, progress and benefit our community, because I feel like our community is definitely changing. Things are moving in a different direction. So it's going to be interesting to see how beneficial this is for our community. So, mhm. So we're going to talk more about the database, the services that they provide, um, the funding as well, and then of course how we can sign up, and then what we're signing up for, right? We want to just make sure that we know exactly what
Okay, I'm
we're
back. I'm
signing
so
up
sorry about that. It was just getting
for.
loud.
No
I had to
problem.
yell. I'm like, I don't want to leave my post. If I have to, then I'll hop off and I'll come right back. But yeah,
Okay.
so we were speaking on the different tiers of membership. There are three, and the three memberships are tailored to the desired privacy level of the people in that community. Gold Town is basically for the most shy of the shy. You are browsing by profiles. You're not seeing people's pictures. You're not seeing their numbers. Nothing like that. It's simply to filter by culturally specific questions that we have asked each member in their application process. If you see a member that you'd like to, create a communication with, then you contact the bureau and we find that member for you. Right, so
Okay.
that's tier one. Tier two is the Silver Village. That is approximately $25 a month. In that profile, you get contact information. So anyone who's like, you know what, I'm okay with putting my contact information out there, you get access to a longer profile, which is called My Long Story, as well as their contact information. No photos, simply their contact information and their profile. Um, and then the third is the most expensive package, but it gives you access to everything, their long story, their contact information, and their photos as well. So anyone who's in that tier of membership is probably going to be your best bet, because these are the people who are like, I am ready right now. I'm not joking around. Here I am. Come and find me. So that's how we tailor the different communities. And in terms of what the questions entail, we ask culturally specific questions. That's what the Marriage Bureau is supposed to do. So the culturally specific questions would include one, um, where do you live? Do you live in the Eastern Hemisphere, the Western Hemisphere? We keep it discreet enough. If you've traveled, have you traveled to the Caribbean before? Have you traveled to Africa before? Where have you been? Do you have children? Yes, no. Have you previously been married? Yes, no. Questions like, were you raised in a one-parent home or a two-parent home, are in the my long story profiles, but my short story would basically require you ask all the basic questions that a mother in the African community or in the Caribbean community would want to know before they try to pursue this potential suitor for their child. So that's
Mm.
that's a little bit into what we do.
Okay, okay. And then so why only at the end are you doing the pictures? Was that strategic, or
Yes,
why did you?
that was heavily strategic, because one thing we know right now, um, we want people to consider that this is not a dating site. I don't want people coming onto the platform. I don't want people coming for papers, and I don't want people coming for superficial reasons. Okay, like a lot of people, um, we did a bit of a focus group when we launched, and when we asked people what their concerns are or what would prevent them from being open to exploring the platform, we considered, okay, well, one, what if people are just going to, lie about who they are, use a fake picture and all that stuff? We're not concerned about your picture. The picture is more for those who are like, you know, come and find me, like the top tier of service. But everyone else, we want people to pay attention to the stories. And when it comes to the stories of each person, we want a friendship to form, because it's like, wow, we have so much in common. Not, oh, that person is physically attractive, let me just pursue them because they're physically attractive. So that was our reasoning behind doing it that way.
Okay. Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. Definitely. So, why is this so important to our community?
How much time do we have? How much time do we have? Okay, so here is why. And I've made posts about this on Global Black Marriage Bureau. Black families are the driving force of our community. Black families. Nowadays, a Black family can be a mother and a son, a mother and a daughter, a father and his kids, single parents, or it can be, you know, a two-parent home, or it could be a grandparent raising children. Ultimately, we need to get back to the point where it is not only imperative that our children know when you are raising a child, you are not alone in that process. But we want people to have life partners and to connect the community. A lot of people think marriage is just for them. You know, it's really not. I think when it comes to marriage, and this is my personal theory on marriage, marriage is for your children and marriage is for the community. I'll give you an example. A lot of people during the lockdown have begun projects of like creating a homestead or living off the grid. But consider this. That's my daughter in the background, so excuse her. I spoke to her before this, but it's okay. I'll deal with her after. Uh, when it comes to people who are trying to remember my train of thought, we were talking about
Getting off the grid.
getting off the grid. Yes. So a lot of people still are focused on getting, 1 second.
Yeah, no problem. All right, guys. So
She went
what's
back down. She went back down.
okay?
Sorry. Okay. So when it comes to people who want to live off the grid, that's fine and dandy for you and, you know, your significant other if you have one. But when it comes to your children, there comes a point where your child will become an adult. And when they become an adult, who are they supposed to socialize with and create commerce with in order to grow their community? You literally at that point would be saying, okay, I'm going to live for myself, my spouse, and my kids until they have to become adults. And then maybe you've taught them skills, which is awesome. But unless you have the manpower or the people to interact with, the community to help you, because we can't all do the same things every single day. We all have different skill sets and whatnot. Then you're leaving your children to be left out of society. We have to replace the systems that are not serving our community. We can't just say, I'm going to leave them because they're toxic. No, we have to replace them. And in replacing them, we need to have marriages between families so that they can create that alliance. Marriage is an alliance. It's not just a romantic thing we do if somebody has been, you know, answering our needs. It's you're building something with this person. You're building a human being, one, you know, if that's your decision as a spouse, because not everyone wants to have kids, and I'm aware of that. But you're also building a legacy. There's a reason why names are given, names are taken away, things like that, right? So it's to create something anew, something bigger than just yourself and this person. So that's the short version. I'm so sorry I rambled, but that's the short reason or explanation for why a marriage bureau, why this is important to have in our community.
Yeah, and I mean it is important because of where we are right now. We haven't seen, you know, this. I mean, there are a lot of marriages that have, you know, stood the test of time and we still see them around till today. But the whole marriage thing, it's almost like, you know, a lot of people ask the question, is marriage still alive? Do people even still want to get married? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And to take it a step further, I look at it from a generational standpoint. So another thing with the marriage bureau, when you come on, we don't just ask you, you know, how old are you? We ask, what generation do you belong to? Because we want our members to start thinking about those types of things. Are you a baby boomer? Are you a Great Depressioner? Because, you know, if you're older, we're not ageists here. Anyone who wants marriage in the community can come as long as they're over 18. Um, yeah, we have the Great Depressioners, we have the baby boomers, we have Generation X, and we have Millennials. And then after that, it's Generation Y, or Z. No, Generation Z. And when it comes to these different generations, there were a lot of systematic oppressions that went on to get us to this point of, is marriage still a real deal? There are generational traumas that are significant to one generation, and then there are different ones for another generation. With the baby boomers, for example, that was when mom left the home and decided to go work. Yeah. That's when that happened. The Great Depressioners, that's the poverty generation. They rationed a lot because of the war. Generation X are the grunge kids across this planet, but for the most part, the West. Grunge kids, a lot of them rejected the notion of, you know, marriage because they saw a lot of different things go wrong in their own families. A lot of them were first marriage babies, right? And then you have the millennials who came along and they're skeptical of everything. So you have them looking at what happened previously and going like, that world isn't here anymore. And then you have to think, oh, let me be optimistic about the future. But then you're looking around, and if you don't have the network that matches your optimism, you feel stifled and you're like, I don't know what to do. Do I just fall in line with the agenda of like destroying families? Because that's been the agenda across the board for every minority community, as they call us. They don't want families. They don't want reproduction. They want smaller numbers from our communities, right? So yeah, that's the background for all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's important to know too, because a lot of times we don't really think about all that, you know?
No, we don't. It's very important. Yeah. It's very, very like,
because we know where people stand and where they're coming from, where their mindset would be.
Exactly. Yeah.
So tell me what your definition of marriage is.
Okay. My husband says I have an answer for everything. Let me find a good answer for that, because I have a few different definitions. But are you asking what a good marriage is, or just what a marriage is?
Well, give me the definition for both.
Okay, so a marriage.
You probably have.
Yeah. A marriage is a contract. A marriage is a commitment. And a marriage is, if we want to talk about it like metaphorically, a marriage is a box. It's a pretty, pretty box that is supposed to give you or hold a lot of valuable things. That's what marriage is to me. A good marriage is a friendship. It's a friendship. And it's a friendship that yields a lot of beautiful things if both are wanting the marriage to continue. Because you can be married, you know, a year or 2 years or 3 years. The most beautiful thing is to have two people come together who are damaged. I believe everybody has some form of damage in their life, you know, because we're all born like into sin. And in the end, we're all damaged people. But if two damaged people can find a way to not only tolerate one another, but build with each other year after year, each time there's a trauma or each time there's a problem, being there for each other's, you know, joys as well, that is a decision you have to consistently make, you know? So it's a friendship. Like, are you going to pick up the phone when your friend calls you, you know, this time around? Yeah, if you consistently pick up the phone, you guys are still friends. You guys are still in that friendship. The moment you stop picking up the phone, what is that marriage? It's now just a box again. You know what I mean? So that's what a good marriage is. It's a friendship, and it yields beautiful things as long as it maintains that friendship standpoint. Yeah.
So then marriage doesn't necessarily, is not based on love at first, is it?
Well, this is why when it comes to love, I subscribe to the definition that I read in the Bible, the New Testament. when I was really young. And this is when I was like, do I want to get married to this man? Because my husband's Muslim and I was raised Adventist. So at that time, from very young, I was reading the New Testament like religiously. And I looked to it to be like, am I in love with this person or not? And they said, love is patient. I can't remember verbatim, so I'm not a Bible fanatic, okay? So I will not remember it verbatim. But one of the things they said is, love is patient, love is kind, love does not seek its own, love is this, love is that. I believe that love is something beautiful. You can see things that mirror it on this planet, but in terms of the divine love as what we would hope love would be and all those things that were listed in that New Testament, that is God, right? And as human beings, we have a degree of that within us. We have the capacity to do such things, but it is something you have to genuinely commit to doing all the time, even when you're dealing with trauma, even when things are not fair and all of those things considered. So marriage isn't love. God is love. If you are in love with the person you're married to or demonstrating those qualities, not seeking your own, not jealous, you're being kind to them, then this is somebody you've loved, demonstrated that action to, who you have committed to. A lot of people want to associate lust and love. Those are two separate things. I cannot, and this is me because I'm a very technical person, like an extremely technical person. If I'm saying I love my mom, and then I'm talking about, and this is prior to me being married, I say I love this guy that I'm talking to because he makes me feel good. Those are two, one is lust, one is love.
Right.
The moment it becomes physical and sexual, it is pure lust by my definition. When you are using all of those different descriptions that are in the Bible, like, oh, he's so kind, he's this or that, or my daughter is so kind, she's this, or my grandma is so kind, this, or my friend is so that, that's why I love them. That's that love. But a lot of people are calling love when it's actually lust that they're in. And society is hypersexualized, so they will continue to defend the right to say sexual things is what's required to be in love with a person. But that right there just doesn't match up because you love your child, right? So if you love your child, there's a sacredness to that word. And I don't want it to be misconstrued by like, okay, this is somebody that I'm intimate with, so that means I love them and they make me feel good. No, that's not love by my standards. No.
100%. No, I see Jamila in the chat saying wise words, and there are some wise words. Yeah, no, it's good it's refreshing to hear that information, just coming from another sister, because at the end of the day, when we are on social media, when we're looking at these movies and watching different shows, there's so much of it out there. It's almost like it's pressing against your mind. What is it? Like, you know what I mean? What is real love? Is there real love in today's society anymore? And if you do not do all of these lustful things, is somebody actually going to love you? You know what I mean?
That's
really
thought.
What's out there.
That's a scary thought, which is why I said, I'm like, this marriage bureau is important, because marriage is something that a lot of people are afraid to even bring up because they know that there needs to be love in that equation, and they still doubt if they have, if they're still deserving, if they're wondering, and I'm saying they by like the women who are confused, the men who are confused, right? About this whole marriage thing. It's like, is anyone that in love with me to commit to do something like that? Is it going to be them faking it, or is it going to be them really down? And unless we have an example, which few of us do, myself included, an example of when it went beautifully and like you didn't see the downsides, because even when it goes beautifully, right, there's always downsides that you'll never know about unless this couple is like, yeah, did you know that this happened? You know what I mean? Like, unless we have an example or a poster child in our community to say, that's marriage and I like that, then yeah, this is a natural thing because society is hypersexualized. We are in society. We're a part of the system, and this system wants the destruction of good, the destruction of love, the destruction of family. It doesn't thrive on that. Like, I mentioned this to a friend, in fact, a few friends, because I'm always talking about this stuff. When it comes to capitalism, capitalism profits from breakups. Capitalism profits from you being indecisive. It does not, if you are in a situation where you do not want to be with one person, right? You don't want to be with one person. Let's say you're a polygamist, right? That is a lack of discipline, and they capitalize on that lack of discipline. You see what I'm saying? Dependency breeds profitability for the system. If you continue to be dependent on what they've been feeding you, then they will continue to profit from you. If you believe, I can't rely on them, I got to rely on myself, then that means you're going to be at work a lot more often in their system. Yeah. If you partner up with someone else outside of the system, whether it be a spouse or, a parent or whoever it is, and you band together, that makes you a force to be reckoned with. That means you're now competition to this system. I hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense.
No, it actually does, because I think people are scared to step outside of that box too. There's a lot of, we see it, especially right now during this whole pandemic, a lot of people are scared to stand on their own. Even though they're not on their own, they feel like they're out on their own, right?
They're convinced to believe that they're on their own. Because if you need me, then you're going to rely on me. You're going to do what I say. Exactly. Even if it's not for your benefit or the benefit of your lineage or the people you love. Like that's the game. That's the game.
That's the game. Yeah. Because they have a lot of people up. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
The majority, right?
When it comes to majority and minority, this is the game. This is, again, another part of the game. We don't know the actual numbers of anything until we have a strong enough community where we don't need to find out what's going on in Alberta from CP24. We can find out because we have enough connections in Alberta to say this is what the streets are saying. Then we don't know the actual numbers, because every number that they release to us, and when I say they, I'm saying the system, every number that the mainstream system releases to us has an incentive or an agenda attached to it. They will not share it unless there is a dollar amount they can make from sharing that. And then who is giving them that dollar? Who will profit from this fact being true? Who will suffer from this fact being true? And I know I look at it that way because I was going to be a journalist, and I realized that it's entirely biased. Like, if you come with a story, and I'm saying journalism because that's what has been the media. Mainstream media is, the authority, the people wearing the nice suits, the women wearing the nice outfits who are sitting there and just talking, not dancing, not trying to do anything other, like just talking at you, and they're given airtime. The authority literally cannot post or share with you anything that will endanger the agenda. They can't, because somebody pays for the lights, somebody pays their bills, somebody pays the cameraman's bills. So they have to be very careful what they release and what they don't release. So again, like, I don't believe, based on statistics, especially after my trip to Africa last year, last year and this year, I don't believe a lot of the statistics anymore, because one thing I was under the impression of was Canada is such like a huge population. And I'm like, I grew up in the school system. How is it that I grew up in the school system and I don't fully understand how small of a population Canada really has when it comes to the rest of the world? Here, it's 38 million approximately. The country I went to in Africa, which was Tanzania, has over 80 plus million people. When you go online, it says, according to the United Nations, there's only 59 million people there. In any case, it's still a lot more than Canada, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the majority of that population in Tanzania, it's 90% what we call here minorities.
Right.
And it's bigger than Canada. So how are we as a people, as a diaspora, minorities when we're in the West, if we have a
Yeah.
connection to our motherland? Do you see what I'm saying?
That's the thing. Our connection has been lost because they will tell us that Africa is smaller than it actually is.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right? Like the whole map. Like it's just upside down. We don't even know. We have no clue. But it's important to travel and as you're saying, like to go there for yourself and figure out what's what.
Exactly. Exactly.
If we just have no clue. But I feel like marriage, and I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but marriage is different. I find like a lot of people in the African community still hold very tight to marriage.
Yes, because the indoctrination that has taken place throughout colonialism's age has been different depending on the part of the world you're living in, depending on the laws that were in place in your country. They have tribes still that they can attach themselves to if they haven't demonized their tribe, right? As the ones who were taken away, and I am aware that a lot of Black people are Aboriginal, meaning they're the first people here on the Western soil. But for example, I myself, my parents are Trini, both of them. So I'm a descendant of slaves. I'm a descendant of people that were stolen from Africa and brought here. We don't have last names that are our actual last names. We have slave master last names. Our language, our mother tongue, is not our African mother tongue. It is the English language or a colonizer's language like French. Even in areas like the Congo, right, or the Democratic Republic of Congo, I believe that's where they speak French. They still have many different languages, many different traditions that they have been able to upheld or hold up and protect because they're still in the motherland. I went there, and the joke is, me of myself, people looked at me and assumed that I spoke Swahili. I do speak Swahili, but not on the level of like, oh my gosh, let's just chill and talk and do it for hours. Or even in commerce, like I don't have the vocabulary, the Swahili vocabulary for commerce. I don't. So a lot of the time they gave me a very big price to pay because they're like, Uzungu, which means white person. If you do not have the ability to speak their mother tongue, they literally look at you as an outsider until there is somebody there to translate and create that, like, oh, so you are like me. You are not different from me. Do you see what I'm saying? Because that, again, my last name is not an African person last name. It's the descendant of a slave master from Europe. So when I go there, they're thinking, well, it must be like you're treated like how your last name is. Their last names are completely different to ours. Our languages are different. So it's a natural divide unless we fight to repair it. Yeah.
And then so yeah, we definitely have some work to do. Like
A
we
lot.
definitely have some work to do. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
a lot.
No, but I'm interested in figuring out why we need to make this, not only why we need to make this repair, but what is so essential to having this marriage bureau and how that's going to connect our families back to where we need to be.
So let me give you a few examples. You just got me so excited by asking that question, but I have to calm down and just gather my thoughts because my thoughts going like this, like, well, so number one, they say look at history, but a lot of people are not aware of history. So let me just try to speak from a perspective of like a Black Canadian to another Black Canadian. Like you're in Canada, I'm in Canada, right? And I'm
Yeah.
assuming the people watching are in Canada. Toronto, right? The biggest part of the biggest, the highest population for all of Canada. Here, we have a lot of South Asians. We have a lot of North Asians. We have a lot of Jewish people. The number one community that we see a lot of are the South Asians. When it comes to South Asian communities, and this is because I grew up around a lot of them, and I would be like, oh, so this is what's happening this season. This is what's happening. It's a completely different lifestyle because their community does things differently, right? What can happen for us is what works for them so that there's more productivity and more success that has just been like clockwork. And when I say success, I mean by the standards of economics, specifically economics. Most of the time, when someone has not already found a spouse, there's going to be a spouse coming into the country from a part of India, a part of Pakistan, a part of Sri Lanka, a part of Europe, because there's a lot of them in Europe. And they have not just one, they have a ton of marriage bureaus, okay? In the end, when that happens, an alliance is formed between a family that is in the East and in the West, and then all of the people that they know. So now it's literally, everyone is aware that now we're unifying, right? And besides that unification through the marriage, it's families who get together for the festivities of the marriage. Those are a big deal. They don't even last one day, they last a week in some cases. Do you see what I'm saying? And if you consistently go to these weddings, you're in a space where people are thinking of togetherness. They're not thinking of, well, is marriage still a thing? Does this guy love me for real? Like it becomes bigger than that. You're forming alliances within your community. And the children seeing that on a consistent basis, they know that if they start a business, how many different people they can go and get their support from. They have tons of aunties, tons of uncles, tons of community members that came to the wedding who are there for them to support, you know, and vice versa. So it's huge. When I say it's huge, like I'll go on to say this, and I'll quote an African leader. One of the members of the Tanzanian government said before we left, which was like, that was February, she made this announcement. She said, we are going to instill a lot more incentives for members of the diaspora, including Black people, so that they come back and they invest in Africa. Because the problem is this: for a long time, African leaders have gotten a bad rap because they say they look out for themselves. They don't look out for the community, right? But what happens is, after they survived or they were emancipated, whatever we'll call it, depending on the country, because there's so many countries in Africa, after they survived that colonialism, they now are dealing with a currency situation. Whose currency is the most powerful? Whose currency is the least powerful? If a corporation or missionaries come into their country with a ton of a high currency doesn't even have to be like $1 million, like just the currency has to have power. They're going to accommodate them more than the people that are in the vicinity that has the lower currency. The diaspora has to protect Africa. Because if the diaspora, because we're spread out, there's Africans that live in Europe, Australia, Canada, US, Mexico, South America, wherever. If we don't use the power of our currencies where we are to help them out of their post-colonial issues, then they have to rely on the Western powers and their corporations to survive in their country. Because it wasn't by chance that all of the resources, the raw materials, are in Africa. It's not by chance. That's just what it is, because that's where civilization originated. But what they figured out, the World Bank figured out, and the UN is behind it, if we have a higher currency, paper, it's just pieces of paper. If our currency is weighted more, all we have to do is go there and buy things on sale and then sell it to our people and sell it back to them. Because that's the situation. If you look at even chocolate, chocolate, I don't remember the exact figure. Let's say it's about $30 billion industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not growing cocoa beans in Europe. They're not. It's grown in Africa. And what they will do with the African leaders who have access to the crops, and obviously the village people that do have access to the crops as well, is they'll pay them something as an individual that looks like, wow, this is so much, right? But it really is so small compared to what they can do with it. So let's stay with me here because I know I've talked a while, but take it a step further. If instead of just taking that money from that natural, cocoa plant and sending it to Europe so that they can go make money off of it, if instead the people of the land created the chocolate, manufactured the different goods that they have in their possession for next to nothing, they won't need the money from the outside. But that takes a level of thinking that was not encouraged during post-colonial times. People who think like that get assassinated.
Right.
If they're in government. But if the collective, meaning the people in the diaspora, start thinking that way, think of all the businesses that we could start, the economic issues that we've been facing, the begging for, basic human rights. We wouldn't have to do that anymore at all. We literally could just separate and create what we need for ourselves.
Okay, so I totally hear exactly what you're saying. No, I'm taking it all the way in.
Yeah.
So where do we start?
So where we start is in the home. They say it starts in the home, right? Yeah. It always starts in the home. When it comes to our children, there's a lot of us who already have, and when I say where we're headed, when I'm talking about like the beginning of this, the ultimate destination is freedom and prosperity, something that God has promised all of us, if we live a righteous lifestyle, and freedom from the persecution of the system, because the system has done a lot of things, and even ourselves by, being indoctrinated and thinking, let me take the reward for perpetuating the evils of the system. We want prosperity, we want freedom, and we want to be, just free, right? Free from the persecution of the system. It starts in the home. Everyone's in a different place. People have to analyze their home. Look at the pros of your home, what's working for your family, and what's not working for your family. When it comes to the marriage bureau, this is for people who are not right now married. You don't want people to think this is like, if we find out you are married right now, male or female, you will not be approved into the marriage bureau. You have to apply. But yeah, a scenario where you are not married and you want to marry. The first step is finding out who you are based on the cultural specific cultures we have placed, and then seeing who is out there. And when I say out there, I'm not just talking about in Canada, in the Caribbean, in the States. I mean, who is out there that is looking for you? In the meantime, we have to obviously own our own businesses. If we're not able to own our own business, to hook up with another person who's in our community who already has a business and work for them or with them, whatever it is, self-employment. There's so many opportunities, but one thing's for sure is we have to emancipate ourselves from this system, because when you start doing your research, my daughter's showing me her homework. Okay, right.
I've been coloring what I've been done already.
Okay, proud of you. Okay. Close the door. In all facets, because the system itself has to be something that we don't pay so much attention to. Because all it is at the end of the day is headlines and things to distract us. Headlines and things to distract us from doing anything that can threaten the system.
Right.
Yeah, so I hope that helps.
Definitely. Definitely, it's all about the mindset for sure. And it does start in the home, 100%. Everything starts within. So we have to be able to make sure that we're organizing within so that we can organize outside. Love it. All right. So talk to us about your why. Why is this? I mean, you can key hear, you can, almost feel the passion when you're speaking about this. You've done your research, well educated, and I love it.
Thank you.
What is your why behind this?
My why is huge, but I'll try to summarize it. My experience as a first generation Westerner, I won't just say Canadian because I've spent time in the States as well. My experience, my upbringing as a first generation Westerner has been very interesting. And when it comes to what I want to give my kids, like the good parts of what has happened in my childhood, when it comes to what I can give my kids in the current climate, it's hard to even give them the good from what I had because of what's happening in the system.
Right.
I don't like not being in control. I'm a very controlling person. Very controlling person. But why is that? Because I don't like the amount of times, the bad times is when things just happen because, I didn't have the control, or I didn't have a relative I could say, like, could look out for me at that point, or a person in the community could look out for me. Like, being alone is a very dangerous thing. And you can be alone in many different circumstances, but my kids, I don't want them to experience those things if I have an option to prevent them from experiencing it. They're going to experience trauma. We're all damaged people. We'll all have a testimony. But if there's anything that I can do to facilitate, I use that word a lot, but it's my favorite word. If there's anything I can do to facilitate something better for my kids, I will do it. Because I truly do not believe that my kids were brought here just to, like, by happenstance. I believe that because God let them into this world, they deserve to experience the best of it. Granted, because of freedom of choice, they may not always choose the best of it, but God wanted them to experience the best of it. I don't want my kids to be comparing themselves to other kids and being like, man, if only my parents had done that too. I don't want that. I don't want it, especially if it's something as simple as just smile at the person that is a part of your community and work with them and build with them. You know what I mean? Like, simple things. These are simple things that we have been convinced are not going to work, but it works for other people. And we are the original people, so why wouldn't it work for us if we start to train our minds?
100%. I hear you. Again, it's all about that conditioning. Sorry, it's all about that mental conditioning. We have been conditioned, and we're still being conditioned today to do and to think in certain ways. So it's about breaking free and understanding that we can step outside of that box and dash the box away. We don't have to go back into the box.
Period. Like, we will continue to have the system throwing things at us, but if you have created your own and replaced it, it doesn't matter as much anymore. Like, there's so many parallels I could draw, but I know that, like, it's I will go talking for hours and hours. So this is the first of many interactions between us. So we'll get into it.
Yes, for sure. So talk to us about what we can expect in the future. I know you are doing some events, the Black Experience. Talk to us about the events that you have going on.
Okay, so number one, the Black Experience was my first Global Black Marriage Bureau sponsored event. That was a free event, and it was meant for Black businesses in the GTA to link up with one another, announce their business, share their business, and come out and have a good time, right? The next event, it's a similar fashion, but this is a paid event where people will be coming to dine. I won't say wine because we're not serving any alcohol, but we will serve beautiful drinks. We have a lot planned, but live entertainment, just like the last event. It's going to be a 3-course meal. In the spirit of forward-thinking Black people, we have vegan options, gluten-free options, halal options. All of those menus are included. So when you purchase your ticket, you select what type of menu you'd like. But first you purchase your ticket, then you go to the event, right? All of that is in my bio on Instagram. So what people can expect from the Marriage Bureau is events that bring us in person to work with each other, smile with each other, find out who is like-minded, and find out maybe you're not like-minded with me, but you would be great working with the next person that I know. That's the whole purpose of this. As long as people are intrigued enough to come out, they're not going to be disappointed because we're building communities. Everything that I'm doing right now when it comes to the global Marriage Bureau comes back to that vision of freedom, prosperity, and just greater economic circumstance, because we don't know who's out there. We really don't. We wait for the system to tell us who's out there, which is psychotic because the system doesn't need us to know who's out there. We need to know who's out there, us and our families. So yeah, like, it's to get people offline. If you're online and at home because, you know, weather, whatever, that's great. But in a situation where you have an opportunity to get out of your house and go socialize with your community, do it. That's what we want people to, you know, look forward to when it comes to the marriage. We want to have events not only in Canada, events in the States, events in the Caribbean, events in South America, events in Africa, events in Europe. I'm not going to say Asia just yet, but there's a lot planned, and I'm very thankful that I have a spouse who I can do this to speak to this company because she's on the exact same page. So yeah, that's what people can expect.
Oh, beautiful. Well, definitely you guys are a great example showing us, you know, what a healthy, beautiful marriage looks like. And we're excited to join the Global Black Marriage Bureau. I mean, hopefully, you know, people are out there, they're going to jump in, they're going to enjoy the experience. And it is for serious, it's for people who are serious, like they're ready to
be found. They're ready to be found, because you never know. Maybe it's like you guys find someone who's like-minded, and it's like, we're not going to get married right away because you want an extravagant wedding. Maybe it's the opposite. Maybe you guys find each other right away and you're like, I don't care if we have 30 people at the wedding and it's a small wedding and it's at a restaurant. I need to marry you. I need to form this alliance with you. There's going to be many different situations, but we're hoping to be at a lot of weddings in the near future and celebrate them, share their stories with you, like how they met. I follow Black Love Exists, Black Love Revolution, and I just sit there and go, oh, this is beautiful. Like, it brings me so much joy, like, to my core. Yeah.
This is great. So, talk to us about how we can sign up. Where do we go to sign up?
globalblackmarriagebureau.org. There's 2 steps to signing up. There's registration, which registers your contact information with us. And then you have to select, once you've logged in afterwards, you get a password, everything saved, and an email from us. You log in afterwards, and you apply for the community you want to be a part of. So like I said, there's 3 tiers: Old Town, Silver Village, Platinum City. If you are shy, go for Gold Town. If you are ready, go for the latter, which is Silver City, or Silver Village or Platinum City. Okay, it's only Gold Town. So we do that like a town is small, and then cities are typically bigger, and then villages are typically bigger, and then we have the city. So yeah, you're a city girl, you're a city guy, go to the city. Yeah.
Okay. And it's for everybody, all of us.
It is for all Black people in the diaspora that want to specifically marry somebody who is Black, identifies as Black. We're not trying to emphasize like what they look like visibly, because again, we're not checking people's profiles. It's just, do you identify as Black? The other thing I wanted to mention is this, because we get this question a lot, and I didn't know if we were going to ask this question, so I was like, let me just say it regardless, because the conditioning, you know, we have to address it. When it comes to people who want to, you know, not necessarily be with someone who's Black, that is okay by the standards of Global Black Marriage Bureau team, okay? We want people to have the option to look for someone in their community, if that is their desire. If you have a desire, a friend has a desire for, has already been involved in that type of relationship, we want people who want to be with one another to be together. That's all it is. If somebody else decides, no, I don't want to be on this platform anymore, that's fine. We won't be on the platform anymore. Let us know. We have a support. We have excellent support. Email us, support@globalblackleadersbureau.org. Obviously, if your situation changes and you get married to someone outside of the platform, let us know. We're here to be a community. We're here to help. That's it. Yeah.
All right. All right. Okay, this is exciting. Definitely exciting. I wanted to say too that we're going to be having some more conversations around love, what love is. Of course, we defined it earlier, but just making sure everybody understands what love is and how we need to, embrace loving ourselves. And then, of course, that love definition that is in Corinthians, I believe, in the Bible, the love is patient, love is kind poem, and understanding what God understands love to be. And then once we understand that, we'll understand how to, the difference, especially between love and lust, and how important that is as well. And of course, I want to do a docu-series. So I'm going to be doing a docu-series on, it's going to be called Black Love in the Six. And it's basically based on, a lot of what we're talking about today. And just getting different people's perspectives. I think the more we talk about it, the more we talk about what's happening and what people are feeling and crushing these ideas, these stigmas, and these the thinking needs to change. Once we crush all of that, then people will start opening up their minds to different opportunities.
Facts. Yes.
Right? So we'll get this conversation started, and we're going to continue it, and we are going to definitely see a lot of people signing up for Global Black Marriage Bureau to
yes.
there, supporting others. All right. Well, I just want to thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for everything you're doing. Thank you for this platform. I'm excited for the docu-series, and this is the first interaction of many on social media.
Yes, for sure. All right. Well, do you have a quote or anything motivational you want to leave us with before you go?
When it comes to Global Black Marriage Bureau, we ask the tough questions so you don't have to.
Okay.
Because a lot of people are intimidated, and in the end, if we had someone, a third party, just asking these questions, it's like, listen, it's not me. It's my therapist asking these things, or it's the marriage bureau asking these things. So we want to take the pressure off people, because we know a lot of us are in this search of a spouse by ourselves, by our damn selves, right? So it's not a parent or a grandparent looking out for us saying, this guy is no good. A lot of us are on our own, and we understand it. So one thing you can rely on is the Black Marriage Bureau asks the tough questions, so you don't have to. Just be yourself, present yourself based on your level of comfortability, and yeah, we'll take it from there.
All right. This is definitely exciting.
Yeah.
So we will definitely be talking a lot more on this, but I just want to thank you again for coming through. I appreciate you. And all right, make sure you have yourself a good night, okay?
You too. We'll talk. Have a good night, everyone.
Yes, we will. All right.
Bye.
All right, guys. That was definitely a deep conversation. So much to think about. So much content there. You know what I mean? It's important that we start doing this community building. Everything starts from within. Everything starts from within. And as we branch out, we're able to spread and grow our community into a tight-knit establishment, whatever it is, you know what I mean? To grow our community, because right now it's small, but it's going to get bigger once our mindset starts to change. And if you know me, I'm always talking about mindset, but I'm telling you, there's a lot of things going through my mind right now. There's so much, just a lot of content was poured out today. So I got to sit back and just take it all in. And I hope you guys were taking some notes. This video is definitely going to be saved as well. But just let's start thinking about how we can support each other and how we can change our own mindset, and also how we can start to sit back and think about what it is we're thinking about, and also what it is that we are, the things that we're watching, the things that we're allowing to indoctrinate us, um, the company that we're keeping, the mindset of the different individuals that are around us. We need to start thinking differently. We need to start playing a different role, putting different positions inside of our minds, and allowing ourselves to grow in different ways. So these types of conversations is really what I want to talk about. The docu-series that I'm planning to have is basically going to be speaking to different people who are coming from a different perspective, talking about love, talking about marriage, talking about where the breakdown comes from, and talking about how we're going to rebuild this, how we are going to create these families, these establishments that we know, first of all, as she mentioned, we are the original. So the family unit would have came from us. It did get, there was a lot happening. It did get broken down. There's a lot of different pieces to the puzzle here, but we're going to be able to put it back together. And at the end of the day, as she said, it is about freedom and prosperity. Those are the things that we need to embrace, because we're just getting older. As we get older, our children get older, the new generation is going to be coming in, and we want to make sure that they're well ready and established to and prepared for what this world throws at them, and understand that they are not in a box. They don't have to sit in a box, that we are allowing them to understand that they're grown without a box. And that's important for us to know. So we've got to break ourselves out. A lot of people are talking about, excuse me, generational curses. Sorry, guys, generational curses and breaking out of all of those types of stigmas. And yes, while we talk about it, there's a lot of actual work that needs to be done to break out of those real generational things. And it has to start somewhere. So we are definitely going to be opening up the floor to this type of conversation. I want to talk about everything. And not only are we going to be talking about, Black love in the six and how we can heal. An important factor of what she touched on today was about the fact that we are always looking at the flaws of each other, right? And we are all damaged in some way, shape, or form. So it's important for us to realize that it's these two damaged people coming together and committing to the fact that we are going to make this work. We are going to love each other. We are going to develop a family and create this unit and build a legacy together. And that's the whole thing. And that takes a lot of commitment. It takes a lot of unselfishness. It takes a lot of dropping an ego. It takes a lot of all of the criteria that's in the Corinthians, what love is. So look up love is. I believe love is kind. Love is does not put on airs. It does not have an ego. There's just so much in that poem. Sorry, there's so much in that poem that we need to really embody and think about how we are going to establish, and we're not, pussyfooting, for lack of a better term, back on what we're doing here. We've got to put our best foot forward. We've got to move with it, and we need to make sure that we continue to stay unified until we see what it is that we are looking to establish. We have the vision, and there is Global Black Marriage Bureau that has this vision, and she's not the only one that has this vision. There's tons of individuals out there, like-minded people that are connecting right now, and we need to jump on board. So guys, this was definitely a powerful conversation. I hope I was asking questions to help you probe some thoughts in your mind, because I definitely sat back and I was like, yes, There was a lot of information that was poured out in this conversation here today. Although I took notes, I'm going to go back and revisit the conversation to make sure that I am, understanding everything properly. And I hope you guys took a lot of value out of the conversation today. All right. So, yes, that is it for now. I definitely will see you guys next week. On Monday, there's another. I'm glad you enjoyed it. There was another great guest coming on Monday, and of course, this is what's the 411. Today there was a lot of information downloaded, a lot of information. So what's the 411? If you don't know, now you know, okay? So if you are looking for a serious relationship, and when I say serious relationship, building a legacy, having a committed future for not only for yourself, but for your partner and for your family, you definitely want to join Global Black Marriage Bureau, guys, okay? You just have to join it. Whether you are shy, as she said, you go to Gold Town. If you're looking for a little bit more, you're going to go to Silver Village. And then if you're ready, like if you are ready right now to, put yourself all out there and find that person who you are looking for, Platinum City, baby. Platinum all the way. You know what it is. All right, guys. So take it easy. Have yourselves a great night. I appreciate you guys rocking with me. And this is What's the 411, where everybody's story matters. All right. So I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.